Imagine evolving for millions of years, changing, adapting, becoming something better. Your ancestors crawled out of primordial soup, developed limbs, learned to breathe air. Generation after generation, each one slightly more sophisticated than the last. And then you emerge, just to be able to glow in the dark and die a virgin. You can probably feel yourself cringing just thinking about it, can't you? That's your human brain trying to process what evolution actually produces, what it creates when nobody's checking the blueprints. This isn't your typical science video. It's designed to help you unwind, to let your mind drift, and yes, maybe even to fall asleep. But our brain doesn't stop working just because your body is ready for rest. While you're settling in, relaxing, letting go of the day, you'll be absorbing something remarkable. You'll experience what it feels like to truly understand the beautiful absurdity of nature's design choices. So settle in, get comfortable, and let your curiosity carry you wherever tonight's journey leads. And let me know in the comments what drew you to this topic. Are you fascinated by evolutionary biology, or do you just enjoy falling asleep to stories about animals having existential crises? Now get comfortable. Dim the lights if you'd like. Maybe grab a warm drink, and let's ease into tonight's exploration of evolution's most spectacular design failures. Picture yourself as a male peacock spider. You're smaller than a grain of rice, but you've got colours that would make a sunset jealous. Your abdomen is a living kaleidoscope of blues, greens and reds. Nature has spent millions of years perfecting your appearance. You spot a female. She's bigger than you, which should be your first warning. But you're driven by something deeper than fear. Something that compels you to perform. You begin your dance. Your legs move in perfect rhythm, like a choreographer spent years training you. Your abdomen lifts, displaying those brilliant colours. You wave your front legs like you're conducting an orchestra. Every movement is precise, deliberate, beautiful. The female watches. Her 8 eyes track your every motion. You can feel her attention like a physical weight. This is what you were born for. This moment when art meets biology. But here's what you don't know. What millions of years of evolution somehow forgot to mention. She's not impressed. She's hungry. Your dance continues. You're pouring everything into this performance. Your entire existence compressed into 30 seconds of pure artistic expression. The colours on your abdomen pulse with each movement. Your legs create patterns that would make human choreographers weep with envy. She moves closer. You think it's working. Finally, recognition of your brilliance. The validation you've been seeking since you molted into adulthood 3 weeks ago. Then she strikes. Not with passion. Not with acceptance. With predatory efficiency. Your beautiful dance ends the same way it does for 80% of your species. In the jaws of your intended mate. The irony is breathtaking. Evolution gave you the most sophisticated courtship display in the animal kingdom, then made the females want to eat you more than mate with you. It's like spending your entire life learning to paint masterpieces, only to discover that art critics are carnivorous. You might think this is just bad luck, poor timing. But this happens constantly. The same species that produces the most elaborate mating rituals also has the highest rate of sexual cannibalism. It's not a bug in the system, it's a feature. Now imagine being born as a male anglerfish. You emerge into the depths of the ocean, smaller than your female counterparts, much smaller. She's the size of a basketball. You're the size of a grape. Your entire existence revolves around one goal. Find a female, not to impress her, not to court her, but to literally become part of her. The ocean is vast, dark, cold. Your chances of finding a mate are astronomical, but you swim anyway, driven by biological programming that's older than continents. You have no bioluminescent lure like the females, no massive teeth, no ability to hunt effectively. You're basically a swimming sperm packet with eyes. Evolution's cruel joke on the concept of masculinity. When you finally find a female, you don't present gifts. You don't perform elaborate dances. You bite her hard. Your teeth release enzymes that dissolve both your skin and hers. You fuse together at the molecular level. This is where things get truly disturbing. Your eyes disappear first. Why would you need to see when you're permanently attached to someone else? Your fins dissolve next. No need for independent movement. Your organs shut down one by one. Heart, liver, stomach, all unnecessary now. You're becoming something that's not quite alive, not quite dead. A biological accessory, a living reproductive organ attached to your mate's body. She swims through the abyss, hunting with her glowing lure. You're just along for the ride, a passenger in your own existence. Your consciousness, if it can be called that, reduced to a single function. The female might collect several males this way, each one a former individual, now just a fleshy appendage. She becomes a living constellation of her former suitors, their bodies arranged around hers like grotesque jewellery. You can still feel, in whatever way a fused organism can feel, the pressure of the deep ocean, the movement of water across what used to be your skin, the rhythmic pulse of her much larger heart, now the only one beating for both of you. Sound romantic? The truth is, it's biological horror. Evolution looked at the concept of a relationship and decided that complete absorption was the most efficient solution. Now envision yourself as a kakapo. You're a parrot, which means you should be able to fly. It's literally in your DNA. Your ancestors soared through ancient forests, navigating by wing and instinct. But somewhere along the evolutionary timeline, your species made a decision. Flying was too much work. The ground seemed perfectly fine. Why struggle with aerodynamics when you could just walk? You're built like a small green boulder. Your wings are decorative at best, stubby, insufficient things that flutter uselessly when you try to use them. You weigh about as much as a small dog, which is problematic when your bones are hollow and designed for flight. Your strategy is simple. Climb trees to find food, eat, climb down, repeat. It works perfectly until you forget, in some deep reptilian part of your brain, that you can't actually fly. The moment comes without warning. You're 40 feet up in a rimu tree, stomach full of berries. Something startles you. Your parrot instincts kick in. Your wings spread automatically, the way they have for millions of years of your species' history. You leap. For a brief, glorious moment, you remember what it felt like to be a bird. The wind catches your wings. You feel the lift, the possibility of flight. Then physics intervenes. You plummet. Your wings beat frantically, but they're pushing against air that doesn't care about your evolutionary choices. The ground rushes up to meet you, with the enthusiasm of gravity multiplied by poor decision-making. You hit the forest floor with a sound like a dropped watermelon. Your body, built for life in the trees, absorbs the impact about as well as you'd expect. Sometimes you survive, sometimes you don't. But here's the truly remarkable part. You'll do it again. Tomorrow, next week, next month. The pattern repeats endlessly. Climb tree, eat berries, forget you can't fly. Jump, fall, survive or die. Your species only breeds every 2 to 4 years, when specific trees produce fruit. You're nocturnal, flightless, and have the survival instincts of a particularly optimistic lemming. You're basically a feathered disaster waiting to happen. Evolution spent millions of years perfecting your ancestors' ability to soar through the skies. then spent millions more convincing you that walking was better. The result is a bird that thinks it can fly, tries to fly, and falls out of trees with the regularity of a broken clock. You're not just flightless, you're a flight-challenged optimist in a world that punishes both flightlessness and optimism with equal enthusiasm. Now picture a Virginia opossum. You're about the size of a house cat, covered in coarse grey fur that always looks like you've been sleeping in a dumpster. Your tail is pink and hairless, like a giant earthworm someone attached to your spine. A coyote appears. Your ancient mammalian brain kicks into overdrive. Fight or flight responses flood your system. But your species chose a third option. Something so bizarre it shouldn't work. You collapse. From sheer terror, your body goes completely limp. Your eyes roll back, showing only white. Your tongue lolls out, pink and lifeless. You stop breathing voluntarily. This is thanatosis, death mimicry. Your body temperature drops. Your heart rate slows to almost nothing. You release a smell from your anal glands that would make a skunk jealous. The scent of decay, of something that's been dead for hours. The coyote approaches cautiously. You're perfectly still. No movement, no breath, no sign of life. Your performance is so convincing that even other opossums would walk past your body without a second glance. But here's where evolution's practical joke reveals itself. You're not unconscious, you're completely aware. You can feel everything. The coyote's hot breath as it sniffs your still form. The rough texture of its tongue as it licks your fur, testing for freshness. Minutes pass. Your lungs burn from holding your breath. Your muscles cramp from maintaining perfect stillness. The coyote loses interest and wanders away, but you can't move yet. Your body won't respond to your commands. You're trapped in your own defense mechanism, a prisoner in your own supposedly lifeless body. The thanatosis can last anywhere from minutes to hours. Your conscious mind screams at your muscles to move, but they refuse to obey. When you finally regain control, you're weak, shaky. The stress of playing dead has flooded your system with hormones that take hours to clear. Some opossums die from the shock of their own defense mechanism. Their hearts simply stop from the trauma of pretending to be dead. You've survived this encounter, but each time you play dead, you're rolling dice with your own mortality. Evolution gave you the ultimate escape plan, then made it potentially lethal to use. Now imagine being born as a Malaysian exploding ant. Your scientific name is Colobopsis explodens, which should have been your first clue that life wasn't going to be simple. You're a worker ant, part of a colony that's thrived for millions of years. Your job is protection, defense, keeping the family safe. Most species do this with stingers or bites, or simply running away. Your species chose explosions. You're walking along a tree branch when you encounter enemy ants. They're invaders, threatening your colony's territory. Your sisters retreat, but you stay. This is what you were born for. You contract your abdominal muscles. Hard. The pressure builds inside your body like a biological pressure cooker. Your exoskeleton, normally tough enough to protect you from most dangers, becomes your enemy. The explosion is instantaneous. Your body ruptures along predetermined fault lines. Your abdomen splits open, spraying everything within a 6-inch radius with bright yellow goo. The substance smells like curry and death. This isn't just suicide, it's weaponized suicide. The yellow fluid is toxic, sticky, and designed to immobilize anything it touches. Enemy ants caught in your blast radius find themselves glued to the bark, unable to move, slowly dying from the chemicals now coating their bodies. You're gone, obviously. Not injured, not unconscious, but completely obliterated. Your sacrifice might save the colony, but you'll never know. You don't get to see the results of your explosion. You don't get to return home victorious. Your sisters will find your remains later. Small pieces of exoskeleton and a yellow stain on the bark. They'll clean up the mess efficiently, the way ants clean up everything. Your existence reduced to a cautionary tale and a slight discoloration on a tree branch. The truly disturbing part is that you're not alone. Your entire caste exists for this single purpose. You're a living grenade, manufactured by evolution and deployed by genetics. Your childhood, your growth, your entire development was just preparation for this moment of self-destruction. Other ants build elaborate colonies, farm fungi, wage complex wars. You explode. That's your contribution to millions of years of social evolution. Your species looked at the concept of defense and decided that suicide bombing was the most efficient solution. Picture yourself as a sea cucumber. You're lying on the ocean floor, looking like a warty pickle. Someone dropped in salt water. Your life is simple. Eat sediment, process nutrients, excrete waste. It's not glamorous, but it's peaceful. A crab approaches, hungry, opportunistic. You represent an easy meal. Soft body, no obvious defenses, nowhere to run. The crab's claws click against the sandy bottom as it moves toward you. This is when your species' most disturbing defense mechanism activates. You don't run. You don't hide. You don't even try to taste bad. Instead, you do something that would make a horror movie director pause and reconsider their career choices. You shoot your internal organs out of your anus. The process is called evisceration, though that clinical term barely captures the visceral reality. Your stomach, intestines, reproductive organs, everything inside your body cavity gets violently expelled through your rear end in a cloud of organic matter. The crab stops, confused. One moment it was approaching what looked like a simple meal. Now it's facing a writhing mass of disembodied organs floating in the water. Your intestines drift past its eyes like biological confetti. The organs continue to move, contracting, pulsing, creating a distraction that's both fascinating and deeply disturbing. The crab, faced with this unexpected turn of events, often decides that maybe hunting somewhere else would be a better idea. You're still alive. Somehow. Your body, now essentially an empty tube, continues to function. You've literally thrown your guts at a problem and lived to tell about it. Or you would if you had vocal cords, which you just expelled. The regeneration process takes weeks. Your body slowly regrows every organ you sacrificed. New stomach, new intestines, new reproductive system. Everything rebuilt from scratch with the patience of biological engineering. But here's the truly remarkable part. You can do this multiple times. Your species has turned disembowelment into a renewable resource. Other animals might lose a tail or shed their skin. You weaponize your entire digestive system. During the weeks of regeneration, you're vulnerable, essentially disabled. You can't eat properly, can't reproduce, can't do much of anything except slowly rebuild your internal architecture. You've traded immediate survival for weeks of biological reconstruction. Evolution looked at the concept of defense and decided that explosive diarrhea was insufficient. Your species needed to take things several steps further. The result is a creature that treats its own organs like disposable ammunition. Picture yourself as an ocean sunfish. You're the heaviest bony fish in the world, weighing as much as a small car. Your body is essentially a giant flattened oval with fins attached like afterthoughts. You look like someone started building a normal fish, then gave up halfway through. Your mouth is permanently open in an expression of perpetual surprise. Which is fitting, because you seem constantly amazed by your own existence. Your eyes, small and round, stare at the world with the bewildered expression of someone who's just realized they're late for an appointment they never made. You swim through the ocean like a living question mark. Your movement is less swimming and more controlled falling. You wave your fins frantically, but your massive body responds with the enthusiasm of wet concrete. Fish half your size zip past you with the casual efficiency of evolution that actually paid attention during swimming lessons. Your skin is home to more parasites than most tropical diseases. 50 different species of organisms have decided that your body is the perfect place to set up housekeeping. You're not just a fish, you're a mobile ecosystem of things that bite, burrow, and generally make your life miserable. The parasites cluster around your eyes, your gills, your fins. They feed on your blood, your mucus, your skin cells. You're essentially a slow-moving buffet table for everything in the ocean that's too small to hunt proper prey. You can't scratch. Your fins are too small, your mouth too rigid. You're forced to rely on cleaning stations, where smaller fish remove your parasites out of professional courtesy. But there aren't enough cleaning stations, and there are definitely too many parasites. Your diet consists mainly of jellyfish. Nutritionally, this is like trying to live on flavoured water. Jellyfish are 95% water and 5% regret. You need to eat enormous quantities just to maintain your massive body weight. But here's where things get truly absurd. You're afraid of your own food. Jellyfish tentacles can sting you. Your mouth, designed for eating them, is sensitive to their venom. You approach each meal with the caution of someone defusing a bomb. You spend your days rising to the surface to warm yourself in the sun, then diving deep to hunt. Up and down, up and down. A vertical migration that serves no obvious purpose except to give you something to do with your time. Your species has been around for millions of years, which means evolution has had plenty of time to fix your obvious design flaws. Instead, it seems to have doubled down on making you as impractical as possible. Now imagine being born as a three-toed sloth. Your maximum speed is 6 feet per minute. On a good day, with a tailwind, your baseline energy level makes sedated koalas look hyperactive. You hang upside down from tree branches, moving so slowly that algae literally grows on your fur. The algae isn't parasitic, it's symbiotic. Your body has become a mobile garden, supporting plant life that turns you green and helps you blend into the canopy. Your metabolism is so slow that it takes you a week to digest a single meal. A week. Most animals process food in hours. You've turned digestion into a geological process. Your stomach is essentially a fermentation chamber where leaves go to decompose at the speed of continental drift. You sleep 20 hours a day because consciousness requires more energy than your body can spare. You exist in a state of perpetual drowsiness, like someone who's been awake for 3 days straight, but decided to live that way permanently. Your claws are perfectly designed for hanging from branches. They're curved, sharp, and lock into place automatically, which is convenient because you might die if you ever let go. Your grip strength is phenomenal. Your ability to do anything else is practically non-existent. Once a week, you perform the most dangerous activity in your entire existence. You climb down from your tree to defecate. It's a strategic decision. Your feces fertilize the tree that feeds you. You're literally investing in your own food supply. But the journey to the ground is perilous. You move with the urgency of erosion. Predators have time to spot you, approach, make dinner plans, and still catch you before you reach safety. Half of all sloth deaths occur during these weekly bathroom breaks. You're so slow that moths live in your fur. Entire generations of moths are born, reproduce, and die in your coat. You're not just an animal, you're a habitat. Your baby clings to your stomach for months after birth, because it's inherited your species' profound commitment to energy conservation. Why learn to move when you can just hang on to mum and let her handle the exhausting business of locomotion. Evolution spent millions of years perfecting speed, agility, and quick reflexes in the animal kingdom. Then it created you, a creature so committed to energy efficiency that you make hibernating bears look like marathon runners. Picture yourself as a blobfish. You're living 4,000 feet below the surface of the ocean, where the pressure is 80 times greater than at sea level. In your natural environment, you're actually quite handsome. Pink, streamlined, with a normal fish-like appearance. Your body is made of a gelatinous substance that's slightly less dense than water. This allows you to float just above the seafloor without expending energy on swimming. You're perfectly adapted to your high-pressure environment. Your life is simple. You sit on the ocean floor, mouth open, waiting for food to float by. Forget active hunting or complex social behaviors. Only patience and the occasional gulp when something edible drifts within range. Then humans discovered you. Scientists in deep-sea submersibles brought you to the surface for study. This is where your species' most cruel design flaw revealed itself. You're only attractive under crushing pressure. As you rise through the water column, your body begins to change. The pressure that once supported your delicate structure decreases with each foot of ascent. Your gelatinous flesh starts to expand, like a balloon being inflated. By the time you reach the surface, you're unrecognizable. Your streamlined body has become a pink, drooping mass. Your features have sagged into an expression of perpetual disappointment. You look like a fish that's been left in the sun for too long. The media fell in love with your surface appearance. You became famous as the world's ugliest animal. Your image spread across the internet, a symbol of nature's supposed failures. Children pointed and laughed. Adults made memes. But they didn't understand. You're not ugly. You're just out of your element, literally. Your body is designed for an environment so alien to human experience that we can barely comprehend it. You're a creature of the deep, displaced and deformed by our curiosity. Your transformation is irreversible. Once you've been brought to the surface, your body can't return to its original shape. You're permanently disfigured by the experience of being discovered. Fame, for your species, is indistinguishable from disfigurement. You became a mascot for ugliness through no fault of your own. Your species didn't choose to be photographed. You didn't volunteer for internet fame. You were simply living your life in the crushing darkness of the deep ocean, perfectly adapted to your environment. Evolution spent millions of years crafting you for life in the abyss. Then humans spent 5 minutes deciding you were grotesque. The disconnect between your natural beauty and your surface appearance is a perfect metaphor for the fundamental misunderstanding between your world and ours. We've met the headliners of evolutionary confusion, but they're hardly alone in their spectacular design choices. The natural world is overflowing with creatures that make you wonder if evolution was having an off day when it sketched them out. Meet the dodo bird. You're 3 feet tall, flightless, and living on an island where nothing has ever tried to eat you. Your wings are decorative stubs that flap uselessly when you get excited. When Portuguese sailors arrive in 1598, you waddle up to greet them with the enthusiasm of a golden retriever. This friendliness becomes your extinction. Consider the giant panda. You're a carnivore with the digestive system of a meat eater, but you've decided to survive exclusively on bamboo. Bamboo has almost no nutritional value. You need to eat 40 pounds of it daily just to maintain your weight. Your jaw muscles are so overdeveloped from constant chewing that your head looks like a furry bowling ball. Think about the giraffe. You're 18 feet tall with a neck that contains the same number of vertebrae as a mouse. Your blood pressure is so high it would kill any other mammal instantly. Your heart weighs 25 pounds and beats so hard it can be heard from 6 feet away. Every time you bend down to drink water, you risk stroke. You've seen a koala. You're a marsupial with a brain so smooth it looks like a pink walnut. Your diet consists entirely of eucalyptus leaves, which are toxic to most animals. You sleep 22 hours a day because digesting poison requires most of your available energy. Mother koalas feed their babies their own feces because newborn koalas can't digest eucalyptus without the proper gut bacteria. There's the corpse flower. You're a plant that blooms once every few years, releasing a scent identical to rotting flesh. The smell can be detected from half a mile away. Your entire reproductive strategy depends on fooling flies into thinking you're a dead animal. You spend years growing in silence, then announce your presence by smelling like a morgue. The penguin waddles by. You're a bird that gave up flight to become a professional swimmer, then decided to live in the most inhospitable environment on Earth. Your entire existence revolves around huddling for warmth and regurgitating fish into your children's mouths. You can dive 1,800 feet underwater, but can't survive 5 minutes away from your colony. Watch the ostrich. You're the largest bird in the world, built like a feathered dinosaur, and your defense mechanism is to bury your head in the sand. This is actually a myth. Your real defense is to run at 40 miles per hour while kicking with legs that can disembowel a lion. You're basically a living war machine that lays eggs. Finally, the narwhal. You're a whale with a 10-foot tusk protruding from your forehead. Scientists spent decades trying to figure out what the tusk was for. Hunting, defense, sensing. Turns out it's primarily used for showing off to other narwhals. You're essentially a marine unicorn with an expensive accessory. But wait, hold on. Let's reconsider everything we've just witnessed. The panda's useless thumb. It's actually a 6th digit, a pseudo-thumb that allows them to grip bamboo stems with incredible precision. Their commitment to bamboo isn't stupidity, it's specialization. They've eliminated competition by choosing a food source no other large mammal can survive on. The giraffe's ridiculous neck creates a blood pressure system that's actually an engineering marvel. Their heart doesn't just beat harder, it's surrounded by specialized muscles that help regulate blood flow. When they bend down to drink, valves in their neck arteries prevent blood from rushing to their brain. They're not medical disasters, they're biological masterpieces. The sloth's extreme slowness isn't laziness, it's perfect camouflage. Their movements are so gradual that predators literally cannot detect them. They're invisible, through inaction. Their weekly bathroom breaks. They're fertilizing the very trees that sustain them. They're ecosystem engineers disguised as narcoleptic teddy bears. The sea cucumber's gut-shooting defense. It works. Predators are so disturbed by the experience that they develop learned avoidance. One encounter with exploding intestines is enough to make most animals choose different prey forever. They've weaponized disgust. The sunfish's apparent helplessness. They're actually incredibly successful. They can dive 2,000 feet deep, survive in both tropical and temperate waters, and their massive size makes them nearly impossible for most predators to swallow. Their parasite load isn't a sign of weakness. It's evidence of their role as mobile cleaning stations for the ocean. Even the blobfish's surface transformation serves a purpose. Their gelatinous body is so perfectly adapted to deep-sea pressure that they need no swim bladder, no complex internal structures. Their efficiency incarnate. Their ugliness at the surface is just the price of being perfectly designed for an environment humans can barely imagine. Maybe evolution isn't drunk. Maybe it's just operating on a timescale and with constraints we can't fully comprehend. What looks like failure might actually be success measured in geological time. Or maybe evolution really is just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. The fact that any of this works at all might be the most remarkable superpower of all. So here we are. We've journeyed through millions of years of evolution's greatest hits and most spectacular misses. Sometimes evolution's greatest superpower is how little sense it makes, how it can create both the perfect killing machine and the animal that dies from being startled, how it can engineer a heart that beats for two bodies, fused together, and a brain so smooth it can't process complex thoughts. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the chaos is the feature. Maybe the fact that life finds a way to survive, even with these seemingly impossible constraints, is the real miracle. And hey, at least we humans turned out perfect, right? We have wisdom teeth that don't fit in our mouths, a tailbone left over from when we had tails, an appendix that serves no function except to occasionally try to kill us. We walk upright on a spine designed for four-legged locomotion, which is why your back hurts right now. We're not observers of evolution's mistakes, we're participants. We're all walking collections of evolutionary compromises, jury-rigged solutions, and biological duct tape. The difference is, we're the only species that's figured out how to laugh about it, as far as we know. So which useless superpower would you want? The spider's deadly dance? The sloth's commitment to energy conservation? The sea cucumber's intestinal artillery? Drop a comment and let me know your favorite evolutionary fail. Hit that like button if you feel a little better about your own design flaws. And subscribe if you want more stories about the beautiful absurdity of existence. Thanks for joining me on this journey through nature's most questionable design choices. Sweet dreams, and remember, no matter how weird you think you are, there's probably a sea cucumber somewhere shooting its organs at predators and feeling pretty good about it.